All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp. Coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is a big piece of news right here. Okay, from CNBC. As the title, Elon Musk to join Twitter's board of directors teases significant improvements. Okay, and we won't read the whole thing, just the key points. And it says Elon Musk will join Twitter's board of directors after taking a 9.2% stake in the social media company, according to a release filed with the SEC. It says shares jump in the morning. And it says, through conversations with Elon in recent weeks, it became clear to us that he would bring great value to our board, CEO Parag Agrawal said in the tweet. Now, from a business standpoint, this is great, because in business, they're always telling you to diversify your portfolio. Okay, you don't want to have the majority of your income coming from one source or multiple sources within a certain niche, or I should say, or group. So for Elon Musk to do this, from a business perspective, that's like, yeah, that's a great move. Twitter is a very popular social media platform, which many people voice their opinions, post videos to. It gets a lot of information out in an extremely quick fashion. All right. But to me, when you look deeper into it from a spiritual perspective, this is all part of the baby steps to the famine of the word. Because you have to remember, Jeff Bezos, I believe it was in 2013, 2014-ish, somewhere around there. Okay, he bought out the Washington Post. So what you have here is a slow, meticulous movements by the who's who of the world to purchase up these media outlets so that they can control the flow of ideas and messages that are portrayed and how they want them to be portrayed. Because see, what's killing these folks is the internet. But you see, when things go too far, somebody of the who's who has to step in, like Google bought YouTube. So now there's a lot of stuff you can't see on YouTube, which is why people are going to all these different platforms like Patreon, like Twitter. But now Twitter has Elon Musk on his board of directors. And you better believe that this guy is going to have a lot of say-so on what can be said and what cannot be said, or whatever information goes on Twitter, it needs to be heavily screened to see that it's appropriate. And all that is nice talk for we need to censor or edit content that's contrary to the Great Reset agenda. And see, moves like this are going to bring out, or should I say culminate, in the famine of the word. Amos 8:11. And it says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. Because there is going to be a literal famine, but the greater famine is going to be the famine of this word, because you have to remember, this truth nourishes our spirit. When you go to what was that, when Yahweh Shai was talking to the lady at the well? This is John 4 and 7. Actually, I'm going to start at 6. It says, now Jacob's well was there. Yahweh Shai, therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Yahweh Shai saith unto her, give me to drink, for his disciples were going away into the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Yahweh Shai answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of the Most High, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman said unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? So this woman, you know, she looking at Yahweh Shai crazy, like, what's this dude talking about? He gonna give me water? He don't have a rope or a bucket or a rope or a cloth we could play. This guy has nothing, and he's talking about he's gonna give me some water? It don't make sense. And verse 12, art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle? Yahweh Shai answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. Physical water, because that's what the woman's thinking. But Yahweh Shai is thinking spiritually. Verse 14, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up to everlasting life. Right? Because you have to remember, as the scripture says, that he who believeth on me, as the scripture says, out of his belly shall flow living waters. So this truth nourishes our spirit, and the Lord is saying that there's going to come a time where people will not receive any type of spiritual nourishment. Okay, let's continue. Verse 12. It says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. Right, because there's a scripture, and I can't think of the wording on it, but it says in that day, like how the wise man will keep silent, or his tongue will about how his tongue will cleave. I don't hope I'm not getting that confused with King David. I'm not sure if it's in Micah. Yeah, I can't remember where it is, but it basically talks about in that day how the prudent man is going to remain silent. Meaning, and these prudent men are the prophets, because we're the only people who the law was given to. Therefore, we are the only nation of people in the world who have true wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and how things are supposed to be. And the Lord saying that people are going to search for it and find it. Now, you have to think of these scriptures Apostle de Gabar. He's very good about explaining this in a lot of his videos. When he says, when you read these scriptures, you really have to envision it. Okay? Have you ever been in a situation where you had to go to a gig and you was missing something from your wardrobe, or there was something you needed to put in your briefcase or your book bag or whatever it was, or your wallet? Okay, you knew it was in the house, but you couldn't find it. Okay, and you're looking all over the house. I mean, you're even looking in places that you know it's not there, but you're just doing it so you can just continue to eliminate more options. I mean, have you ever been in that scenario and you're searching so frantically because you've well prepared to do what you needed to do, but time is winding short and you still haven't found it, but you know it's there in the house? That's how frantically people are going to be searching for this truth. That's how bad it's going to get in this world, where people are going to want to find something they can't. And we all know, as I just gave the example of that, you know how frustrating it is when you know something's in the house. You know it's there because you put it there and you perceive where it is, but you still can't find it. And then eventually you just have to say, the hell with it, and just move on. That's how bad it's going to get. People will weary themselves, I guarantee you, going mad, getting frantic. But the Lord said, you're not going to be able to find it. It says, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. Right? Because they're not going to be getting spiritually nourished by this truth. As Yahweh Shai said, if you're striving for this physical water, you'll be thirsty again. But if you drink of this living water, this spiritual water, you'll never thirst again. Why? Because as the scripture says, the knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times. All right, and that stability goes into that definition of the word stability goes into faith. All right. And you'll have faith because you'll have understanding. You'll have wisdom. You'll have experience. And see, when you know what's coming, there's nothing that can really shake you. There's nothing to fear when you know what's going to come. But see, these people are going to be scared to death. Because they're going to want to hear this truth. Even worse, there's going to be a lot of people who heard this truth and said to hell with it. And now when they realize that these scriptures are going to be a benefit to them because it pertains to their salvation, their literal spiritual and physical salvation. Hey, that's why the scripture says, my people shall be willing in the day of thy power. But they're not going to get it. And see, this is going to be the climax of the famine of the word. But first, these small steps must take place. These big time elite people, they must make these huge business moves in order to continue to manipulate the narrative in their favor. Because they just can't allow this truth to run rampant and not go unchallenged and not go unchecked. Okay, they have to put up some type of fight to resist this truth and keep the masses in darkness. And part of that fight is with this. And don't be surprised in the very near future where you're going to start hearing about these who's who of people starting to buy up more movie theaters, more newspapers, more magazine publications, more the next Twitter or Instagram. All right, don't be surprised when you start hearing more stories about this, because this is all part of the plan to control the narrative. That's all it is. So that's all I had to say on this. I just thought it was an interesting article and just something to go into from a spiritual perspective. Nonetheless, I hope you all were edified. Until the next time, we're going to say shalom.